Okay guys, welcome back. So this week we are going to look at the driving prowess of one of the top drivers in the world.
Yes.
Someone who is known for obviously his speed and his sort of power. Mr. Gary Woodland himself.
Absolutely. US Open champ.
US Open champ. So Gary has been playing with some different woods over the last few years. He's been playing with some Taylormade product. Last year he played some Ping product.
Yep.
And this year he's back into
back
some
into
Taylormade product.
Yeah.
And we thought it would be a pretty cool idea to recreate sort of some of his driving numbers. We just recently put his RPG 400 series on our demo wall.
Right.
So we're going to give that a run today alongside the sim head.
Give us a little backstory on that session you had with Gary.
It was at Glenabbey 2017 and
pre-Canadian Open.
Pre-Canadian Open, and he had been testing. Actually, it was an Aldila shaft that he had been testing in Mexico, and at the time he just came back over from the Open Championship. I think it was at St. George's or something that year, and he was really struggling with his flight, kind of hitting really spinny ones, and he can get a little bit steep on, a little bit narrow at times, and he was really kind of losing a lot of yardage. Just for someone who hits it that far, you know, you've got all the yardage in the world, but you don't want to lose any.
Yeah, you don't want to be hitting a 30 yards short for no reason.
You don't need to be spinning at 3,800 into a headwind in the Open Championship.
It's not going to be good.
No one wants that. So I'd got a word from the guys at TrueSpec who he worked with on his equipment. He worked with Andy down at the Miami location, I believe. And the guy said, listen, Canadian Open, we really need you to go and kind of have a look at Gary, take a look at his numbers and see what's going on. So obviously, you know, you're kind of last minute, you're somewhat limited with the resources. So kind of calling around shaft vendors, going, okay, I need these shafts, I need those shafts. So speak to the guys at Mitsubishi, Aldila, Accra. So we had a bunch of different products to test with. And this particular shaft was in prototype at the time. It wasn't even released.
Really?
So the red version, the 300 series, was released, which is a little bit softer tip. And obviously that was going to be a little bit soft, so we made up some Tour Z Extreme. Remember the red and black one?
Yeah.
We made some of those up for him, and it was actually this one. So made a few different versions up of it. I think we ended up tipping 1.5 inches on the 472.
Right.
And that ended up the one that went into his bag that year, and that was 3 years ago. And he's never changed since.
So he's kept the shaft all the way through. What was the driver at the time? What driver head?
At the time he was in. I want to say it was like I think it was an M1.
Okay.
At the time.
Taylormade product.
It was definitely a Taylormade product.
So it's kind of been, I mean, I know he wasn't on contract, but it's kind of been a Taylormade focus on the driver anyway.
It was, and at the time he had, I think he had just become a free agent, so he was playing some Titleist blades. He kind of was starting to kind of piece his bag together. He had an M1 3-wood, which he loved setting a little upright, and he had a Diamana S Plus 102 gram shaft in that one, which was a big boy. Yeah. So his preferences were unique in that he wanted to fade the driver, but wanted to draw the 3-wood.
Right.
So he had to configure his woods up that way. So it was really interesting in the session, and we've talked about this in the past, but the thing with him was he hit a bigger miss to the right, but he just, anytime the ball went any which way left, he just couldn't see that. He hated the look of that. Hated the look of that. Okay. So even if it was a nice draw and that lowered the spin and we could see some benefits in that, he's like, no. He's just, and that's the difference working with a tour player.
It's true.
Because they have very unique needs. I mean, in his eyes, if he wants to turn it over, he just pulls the 3-wood head cover off and hits a 3-wood.
And he hits it within 10 yards.
And he hits it 290, 300 yards, and you get plenty of distance.
That's very cool.
So
that's the shaft right here.
Ever since.
Very cool story.
RPG 472 M5 Plus. M5 Plus this is the only shaft in the Accra range that has the M5 Plus designation.
It's like a double X kind of thing?
Basically, it's double X, yeah. So
people know,
yeah, just to see that. So we're actually going to play, we kind of pulled the EI profile of this shaft. We pulled the EI profile of Matt's shaft, just to give you guys an idea of how stiff this is, particularly in the butt section and the tip section. Quite similar to your shaft in the midsection.
Right.
when it comes.
Is that where you would feel like? Is that the feel section of the shaft where I would identify?
Depends how you load it.
Okay.
Different players and different load types will actually sense the shaft in different areas.
That's cool.
So if you tend to pull on it really hard, you'll feel something closer to the handle.
Okay.
If you're a little bit more of a smooth loader and you kind of crack the whip, you leave all this sort of release to later, you're more likely to feel what it's doing down at the bottom. Huh. And then you obviously, there's multiple kind of swings in between.
Cool.
We're back to the scene of the incredible victory last year. So we've picked the 9th hole, par 5.
It's like a tough driving hole. Like it's a very long hole, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Well, the cool thing is, you guys are hitting it with the same shape.
True, because he'll fade it a bit.
He's going to try to aim somewhere down that left side, and actually we're just kind of, if we do the little overview here, the bird's eye, you can see you want no piece of that. So even that the aim line, you don't want any piece of that.
I
So
would offset that by quite a bit, wouldn't we?
You're going to want to probably aim it over here, and then sort of look at the bird's eye view, and then you're going to hit a draw off of those bunkers basically.
And then it kicks way down.
Yeah, it's going to kick way down, and if you get a nice kind of firm bounce, I mean you can leave yourself with literally nothing into this one.
Absolutely.
So
all right, let's try to crack a couple. Only thing we'll note is Gary uses the 8 degree, which I wouldn't be able to get in the air, so I've got a 10.5 for myself.
Yep, and he's currently using the 8 degree upright with the weight just slightly in the heel,
which is really an interesting setup, isn't it?
Yeah, it is for him. But you've done really well so far with Sim with the weight in the toe, and it's been good, isn't it?
I like this guy so far.
Okay, let's hit a few. Turn a touch.
Won't be the longest. I'd be happy with it though.
Yeah, you wouldn't be unhappy with it, would you?
But a bunch of guys hit that drive. When I remember watching the tournament, like the commentators would say, "Oh, he didn't quite get to the ridge," and they would lose like 40 yards.
Well, look at that there. So 10 launch, 2,300, really good, like very playable golf course numbers.
Yes.
No kind of curve to it, and you've just fallen short of that ridge.
Yeah. That one should turn a bit.
Yeah, that's got a little bit more to it.
Come on, ball.
Go.
Big hop, huge hop. Man, I'm gonna have to swing faster.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get.
It's a reach to get.
Be 180. Snap.
Not a good strike.
But that one's got a better chance.
It does. It's probably gonna go too far right. Well, it's gonna go long, but stop.
Hey.
Oh.
Come on.
It's long.
Oh, it's awfully good. Get down there. Get down there.
Pretty good one. Go!
That was it. It was 10 more than the carry.
It really wants to roll sideways.
Yes. I don't know if they cut the fairways against you here. What did they do?
It's into the grain.
How do we firm this thing up?
it's I mean, I don't know. What's that?
Do you know what it is? It's just it launched a fraction low and it spun a fraction high. It's a great hit, though. 178.
So that's closer, yeah.
Really quick. How are you feeling with that shaft?
I really like this, to be honest with you.
Well, the one thing with this, Matty, it's something as a little bit of a fitter's trick that we can see in the EI profile that it's stiffer than what you've got. Butt stiffer and tip stiff. But it's the same torque as what you had.
So it will feel familiar.
3.5 degrees of torque. It doesn't feel all that boardy.
So is that a good, I think torque to me used to get kind of a bad rap. Like, oh, it's high torque. It needs to be 2 or something.
Yeah.
Is shaft design come far enough where torque can be higher?
Design, all those sorts of things, have evolved enough to the point where you can, torque would be sort of previously a bit of a band-aid, a bit like using the shaft diameter to control flex.
Right.
Sometimes if you're not going to use the sort of higher grade materials all the time, you might want to kind of widen the shaft diameter in order to make it stiffer in certain parts. So that's still a design sort of utility that's in the market. But yeah, definitely with this one, I think you could play this shaft no problem.
It really feels it doesn't feel like, it's not like when we tried the Hulk, which I would guess is lower torque.
Yeah.
That thing feels quite a bit stiffer to swing.
Normally hazardous stuff plays down below 3. This is about 3.3, 3.4.
Right.
It plays 8 cycles stiffer than a Tensei White, so which is a reasonable amount.
But you're right, you don't really feel it.
Yeah.
It feels quite similar, actually. And more importantly, the color scheme matches. Okay, a little faster.
Okay. The beans, full Monty.
Didn't hit it well enough. A little toey.
Okay.
Ah.
Oh, sit. Oh, it's in. Oh, it's gone.
That was crazy. I'm going to keep going. Oh, it's dry, though. 364 in the beach.
That sounded better. Oh, high in the head.
Damn. I actually thought that was going to be it.
Oh. Turn a little.
It's good. It just, I think I struck it too low on the face. It's really hard to get. Big bounce.
Such a good drive, that though.
I know. That's really nearly it.
315, 177. You're really efficient with this. Staying right there every single time. Oh, it's a low spinner as well.
Yeah.
Get down there.
It's tough.
Not in the water.
One extreme to the other. Okay, officially last try. Damn.
Tell you what, there's not been many of them though you wouldn't take. Bold effort.
I'm out of gas.
Bold effort, my man.
Out of gas. Just shows you how much power that guy has, because he'll kind of.
Oh, it's just cruising.
He'll hit him. Yeah, he'll hit him somewhat smooth 180s, and it's got everything I got to get anywhere near it.
Some good ones in there.
There were some
You
goodies.
kind of warmed it up into the high 170s, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Not really kind of been asking you, you don't really work at retaining that sort of level of speed.
I definitely don't,
No.
because there's other things that need work first. Clearly,
Right now,
strike pattern and such need a lot more work.
Yeah.
But that's a fun little hole to sort of shape one down there.
It
Try to get
is.
some run.
Good hole for this type of test. So,
Good driver.
yeah,
I
good
like
driver.
this.
I think I'd like to do a little bit more of this, sort of recreating some clubs that guys have, whether it's maybe a wedge shot or something.
I should get back into that
unique
again.
Wedge shot. I think it's cool just to dissect the science behind how these guys go about their business.
I completely agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun to get back into that
It
again.
is indeed.
All right.
Alrighty, guys, I hope you enjoyed that little look into something that we can have a little bit of inside information. That's always cool to see that type of stuff.
Fun stuff.
Alrighty, stay tuned. We'll see you again soon.